discovered during my childhood. It was a big deal when Vivaldi's Four Seasons burst on the scene and when Leonard Bernstein, of all people, conducted it. On New York radio, the eccentric De Koven on WRVR advocating his patented Baroque music, and the grumpy Watson overnight on WNCN shared literally unheard of musical treasures. The Record Hunter, a store on Fifth Avenue, had a mole who phoned my father and his friend, Henry James, whenever a shipment of European vinyl arrived. Similarly, as fellow students of mine slipped into movie theaters or upstate taverns, I would grab every opportunity to go to Manhattan for concerts and recitals of Baroque music. My mother reminded me always of the content of Bach's music. Listen to the words, read the translation sheets, remember why he composed them. Those seeds have sprouted on these pages. When I was a teenager, I explained my love for Baroque music as fascination that such emotion could derive from within a straitjacket. Not that I've ever sought therapy, but I shared the attitude of contemporary composer Michael Tork, who said, "Why waste money on psychotherapy when you can listen to the B minor Mass?" Eventually, I realized that the compelling aspects were the structure itself, yes, the straitjacket, and the spiritual content, not just the emotional buttons that were pushed by pleasant melodies. Years later, I was a guest on a public radio station in Connecticut. The program was called A Man and His Music, and I was the guest because I had written a few books, including some on country music. I was asked to choose some cuts and discuss the reasons for my affection. Many of my favorite pieces were from Christian music, many by Mozart, and of course, Bach. When I brought the discussion around to explain the texts and what the spiritual contents meant to me, the host hurried me along. The same prejudice, overt or subtle, shrouds Bach's music in many quarters today. Our culture tends to listen to his works as concert pieces. There often is a benign neglect of their intense spirituality. Without awareness of that aspect, we cannot fully appreciate his life, nor really understand the music. Herein, I aim to correct that. Bach, an icon in history, has come to be real to me, and I hope, as you read this book, he becomes real to you too. Rick Marschall. 1. A Bright Sunrise. Music has been mandated by God's Spirit. Johann Sebastian Bach. The music of Johann Sebastian Bach is hard to study, but easy to understand. In a manner of speaking, that can be said of his life, too. He was born more than 3 centuries ago, a time whose fashions, whose daily habits, and certainly whose musical styles are not familiar to us today. Bach occasionally justified the characterization that he could be irritable and demanding, a prototypical artistic temperament. He was the father of 20 children. He never traveled more than a few hundred miles from his birthplace. He wrote music that, by the end of his life, was widely viewed as complicated and theoretical, inaccessible, and dense. Yet, he was totally transparent. And if his music is easy to understand, his faith is even more so. Without guile, self-evident, and inspiring, if we let it be. Music was Bach's life, his talent a gift from God, he believed. He sought to praise God by making his church music to be sermons in song. He knew the Bible so well that he was the functional equivalent of pastor in positions he held. He saw his secular music equally as honoring to God as his church works. And what works they were. Almost 1,200 compositions of all sorts have arrived. Organ and keyboard works, suites, concertos, even a complex fugue masterfully built on the letters of his name. And church music, including cantatas, masses, motets, musical passions, songs, and hymns. Bach's Christian music served as forcefully, and to the same ends, as the creeds, Bible readings, and sermons